Okay, I figured out my key to success. Now I'm locked in. I learned how to open doors like a locksmith.
Welcome back. You're not locked in with DK and Atwood. I'm Atwood. Killer to my left is DK. Killer to the far left. This man has a lot on his resume, so bear with me for this intro. Obviously no stranger to the combat sports world. Was a finalist on The Ultimate Fighter Season 1. Former UFC featherweight and lightweight title contender, but you competed at middleweight as well, right? Mm-hmm. Pro record of 14-6, 8 subs, 3 KOs, 3 decisions. Shared the octagon with legends. We were talking about this earlier. Yeah. Jose Aldo, BJ Penn, Diego Sanchez, Joe Lazone, Clay Guida, Roger Huerta, Sean Shirk, Joe Stevenson, I believe, in the mix there too. A lot of guys, man. And widely considered to be a legend. And also has a podcast himself with the UFC commentating GOAT, John Anik. That's called Anik and Florian, right? On YouTube?
Yes.
What else are you guys on besides YouTube?
Let's see. We're on YouTube. We're on all the audio platforms. We're
Spotify.
Spotify. Yep. DraftKings is our presenting sponsor, so we do have clips over on our YouTube channel, but DraftKings now has ownership over our podcast, so we're over there, which is a good thing.
It's not bad to be syndicated.
No, they're helping us out a lot. So
that's cool, man.
Yeah.
I remember when DraftKings jumped up on the scene too.
Yeah,
man.
right.
They just kind of burst up on the scene. Past year. Yeah.
Definitely.
So to conclude the intro,
sorry,
it's not like he needs an intro though. Yeah. Kenny Florian.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's just start from the beginning real quick, man. Like, what led you to martial arts?
Geez, that's an interesting question. My dad was a black belt in judo. He wanted us all to kind of learn martial arts. So I'm one of 6. So all of us have learned martial arts at some point during our lives. I think we started out in like Shaolin Kempo karate as a kid. I was playing a lot of soccer at the time. Eventually moved over to like soccer.
You're just gravitated into soccer.
Yeah, and it was
was that high school time frame?
That was probably, I was young, so I probably started karate when I was like 9 or 10 and had to stop around 13, something like that, maybe 12.
Why'd you have?
I was playing.
Oh, okay.
Because I was playing year round, and my mom could only take us to so many practices. Between me and my other siblings, it was difficult, so we kind of had to choose.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then I didn't reconnect with martial arts until college. The reason I did, I don't know exactly. I will say this, is that I was, a kid who had a lot of anxiety. I was fearful of getting into a fight. That kind of scared the crap out of me. So, at a certain point, I think I said, well, I was having all these dreams of, you get in fights and you're completely ineffective and you can't do anything. And I was like, all right, I'm sick of having these dreams. I'm sick of having these thoughts. I got to run towards my fear as opposed to, succumb to it. And started, I saw the first UFC. It was intriguing as hell just because I grew up with a bunch of brothers and we had always talked about who's the best martial artist, who's the best fighter. Yeah. And that was actually doing it for real, and I was just enamored with it. And then I saw that, the skinny Brazilian guy, like so many others, Royce Gracie, do his thing. And I was like, well, he looks like a normal guy. I think I could actually do that, So I just wanted to practice and learn it and become more comfortable with myself and at least kind of know that I knew what I was talking about and knew I could handle myself. And it went from competing in jiu-jitsu to trying one fight in MMA just to see what happens. And then
so how'd that go? Did you tell your coach or somebody? You were like, hey, I want to try it out just to see if this is what I want to do?
Exactly.
Because I've had that. People would come up to me and say that. And I'm like, I don't know if this is what you want. Maybe you just want to try it out.
Exactly. I definitely got those looks because I was like, I didn't grow up in a tough area or anything like this. Me and my brothers used to fight all the time, so I'd get tortured by my older brothers. But other than that, I wasn't from like, a poor area and like, had to fight to get by. I did not have that story at all. But I was intrigued by it. And I wanted to try one fight. Like I did well in grappling and stuff, but I wanted to try one fight. Knew that I wanted to know that I could defend myself against another trained martial artist. That was it. And, you know, as you realize, you know, for me, I was like, well, I just want to know that I could do one fight, and after that, I'm good. Like I know I could, you know, do well against another trained fighter. Well, it never works out that way because you're like, well, I haven't fought that guy, I haven't fought that guy, I haven't fought that style. What would I do against that guy? So it just kind of snowballed a little bit. One fight became 2 fights, 2 fights became 3 fights, and on my 4th fight, I was fighting a guy who had like a ton more experience than me. This guy named Drew Fickett, who had like 30 fights. Man. He was on a 6-fight win streak. Yeah. He had submitted 1 or 2 black belts on that last win streak. And I got like a last minute call, and I was like 168 pounds at the time. And they asked me if I wanted to fight at 170. I was
what
like,
promotion
yeah,
was
perfect.
this?
This was Combat Zone.
I know. Yeah,
Combat
I almost
Zone.
fought in like Combat Zone 53 or
That's
something
funny.
like that.
Yeah.
That's in Rhode Island or
they do it in
Maine?
Rhode Island, I think, but it was in Boston at the time. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Combat Zone.
Yeah,
I think I was gonna fight at a like a horse like racing track.
Oh, really?
Like
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. That was.
Yeah.
That probably would have been in Boston, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they used to do some of them. That's
wild.
so funny. I ended up fighting this guy named Drew Fickett. He was really good, had a ton more experience. I was ignorant at the time. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Then they called me like 2 days before, like, hey, he's not going to make weight. You know, would you want to do 175? I was like, yeah, whatever. I compete in jiu-jitsu tournaments. It's probably the same thing. So I like fought him at 175, gave him a much easier weight cut. He was cutting down from like 190. And it was for a belt. It was a big deal. It was the main event. And I was 3-0 at the time. I don't think I'd ever really been hit in the head with a punch at that point, in a pro fight anyway. And I definitely got hit in the face by Drew. And it was just a back and forth war, man. Like, I was happy that I responded the way that I did. Like, I got hit in the face and it didn't faze me. We fought hard for 15 minutes. I thought I won. He thought he won. And he ended up winning by split decision. In the crowd that night was Dana White. He used to vacation to New England. He'd go up to his main house or something, and he stopped in to recruit Drew Fickett for this new show called The Ultimate Fighter. Yeah. It hadn't debuted yet, and they were looking at him. Dana White came back to my dressing room after the fight. He's like, hey, kid, I thought you were going to get your ass kicked. He's like, I thought you won. He's like, we're doing this show called The Ultimate Fighter. Have your brother interview you. Send us in the tape, and, you know, maybe we can get you on the show. And in my head, I was like so pissed. I'm like just nodding my head, seeing Dana talk to me, and I was just like, I was just so pissed that I lost. And I was like, whatever. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. Screw that. That sounds stupid. I don't want to be on TV. And then I ended up, like, they hit me up again. Some producer called me. And then I ended up sending in like a DVD of me teaching. And they called me. They introduced. They invited me to Vegas. Back then, there was no tryouts. There was no fights. There was nothing. It was basically they went off your interview, and they went off your resume, and any recommendations you had, I guess, and that was it. Wow. And they told me. I remember when I was at the meeting, Craig Pelagian, who started The Ultimate Fighter, is the creator of The Ultimate Fighter. He's like, you look like my son. He's like, but you're way too small. He's like, this is gonna be 2 weight classes. One's gonna be at 185 pounds. He's like, you're way too small for that. He's like, what makes you think you can compete at 185? I was like, well, I've competed in a lot of no weight limit jiu-jitsu tournaments, grappling tournaments. I should be fine. He's like, all right, we'll see. And they called me and they told me I was on the show, and then.
Damn. So did you have one pro fight before going to the Ultimate Fighter?
I had 4.
4.
Yeah.
4 so fights. 4. So
yeah.
So your record is actually.
It should be
than 16-4. That's what I saw on the UFC website.
Exactly.
And it had one fight listed on there from before the Ultimate Fighter.
Correct.
So
yeah, because I again, we were in kind of a weird area in Massachusetts where it was legal, it was not legal. Yeah. All of my fights I got paid for. All of them were with gloves. All of them had like some kind of sanctioning body there.
Yeah.
So it was like I was in that gray area.
Well, that was back in MMA.tv time.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. And I was on that. I was on that forum all the time.
I remember, and that's how I kind of came across like Burn with Kearns and stuff like that, and. Was MMA.tv. That used to be,
man.
That used to be like the platform you go on to see check your record, check your MMA record, or check other people's record, or see if you're a pro.
Everyone was on there at the time.
Everyone.
Man. Yeah.
Before that, it was like fight with Full Contact Fighter.
Yeah, Full Contact,
Sure Dog,
and Full Contact Fighter. Exactly.
Wow. So that was the perfect segue because obviously I wanted to talk about Tough, and we were talking about this too. Like, give us an idea. So I've talked to Derek about his experience with Tough behind the scenes and stuff. Give us an idea of like, because yours is obviously the first season. It's like the pilot of the entire.
Because dude, I had to try out. I tried out 3 times.
Wow.
I was in Iraq one time when they were doing the one in Charlotte, and I videoed myself in Iraq and everything. Sent it in.
Damn.
Didn't hear anything back. The next time I flew to Vegas, tried out, got cut first round. Next time was when I was at Kurt's. I flew to Vegas, tried out, did amazing, made it all the way through the cuts, talked to
Craig Legion,
at the end, and he's like, man, you're a big lightweight. He was like, I like Kurt. He was like, you'll be a monster on here. Next thing you know, 2 weeks later, I get a call. They want me back out. And it was a big process going through all medicals and, CAT scans and everything else. And, and then just to find out, because that was going to be the season they did live, season 15.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was the one actually I think John Anik did, I think.
Yeah. Because it was the first and only one live that they did. Yeah.
That was
and
crazy.
so I was active duty military going through that, trying to get out of the military. So it was like to hear him just walking up to you and him just like, yeah, come on in, no tryouts or nothing.
Right.
Because when I was there, I mean, I have an old flip. You remember the old flip?
Yeah, like the
cameras that you had.
That's what I used to. I used to film all of my training sessions with that.
With a flip, yeah, it had the little USB thing. You just plug it right in the computer. Yeah. So I remember I had that, and I took it with me my last time I did the Ultimate Fighter tryouts, and I'm just filming it. I mean, there's so many people.
The
in
footage
ballroom.
anywhere?
Yeah,
dude. I want to see it.
All right, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Why'd you
But it's
keep
just
this
so
from
many
me?
people with guys are shadowboxing, and they're like, it's wild, man.
So they probably had a much better process when you were doing it, but for us, we were the guinea pigs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't really know what to expect. I wasn't even confident that it was going to make it to television, just because I was like, do people want to see this? Like, are people going to be into this? Like, are people ready for this? Like, and
man, were they ready?
yeah, I guess they were. They were. They at the time, of course, it wasn't a major network or anything like that, but it was what considered
Spike
the man
was-
channel, Spike TV.
Yep.
So they had the right network at the time. The studio or the network was really behind it, and they pushed it hard. And we had the right recipe of guys. Derek was teaching a class a couple weeks ago, and he asked me like a tough trivia question. I was like, oh, I don't know. He was like, it was your season, you dummy. So anyways, but he probably remembers a lot more about my season than I do. But it seems like it's a lifetime ago, dude. Like it seems like a lifetime ago. But it was a wild time, man. It was a wild time where we basically, like a lot of the shows, we had to fight our way to make it to the through the season. Back then, if you lost, you got kicked out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
that's
now
they keep them so they have training partners.
Yeah, and now you can call. And back then, we could also call out anybody you wanted. So let's say we had, I think Diego Sanchez fought like twice because he kept calling people out, and keep winning, And I was kind of in that middle zone where I was not very experienced. But I didn't have a terrible, like a whole lot of experience. And I wasn't crappy, but I wasn't great. So I was in that weird zone where people weren't really calling me out.
Were you a black belt at the time, though?
I was a black belt at the time.
You were also a likable dude. Like there were some crazy fuckers on that season.
And I did
man.
well. I did well training wise with a lot of the guys, which gave me confidence and stuff like that. And maybe they stayed away from me for that reason. But I didn't fight until late in the show. I fought Chris Lieben after I'd already been transferred over to Randy Couture's team. So I would train with them for like a week or two, and then I ended up fighting the dude that I was training with, Chris Lieben. I'm like, oh man, I'd much rather fight him, not see my game at all.
Right.
And
that was as crazy as
a
that dude
wild
was,
man.
he was
a wild man.
freaking durable,
dude, his
man.
fists, his hands, his fingers were like, one of his fingers were like 2 of mine. And he had just like sausage fingers. Big dude, massive head. I have a big head. His head's like twice the size of mine.
Right.
And he was tough as nails, man.
Yep.
And
he was a little crazy.
he was
I'll
a
never forget
little crazy.
when you guys are doing the workouts in the beginning of the season. He's like the only dude that lasted on the treadmill after getting just drunk the night before.
Yeah, no, just mentally so freaking tough.
Yeah.
And he yeah, I remember him telling me, he's like, I'm 205 pounds, Keeney. I'm 205 pounds. I'm going to smash that cat. And I was like, oh, God. I was like, here we go, dude. I got to fight this
so
dude.
Funny.
It was at 185 pounds, and he's 205 pounds the day. And I was like a chubby 182 pounds.
I remember that, dude.
It was crazy.
It's like, yeah.
Every time I went to take him down, it felt like I was hitting a wall. And I was like, oh, man,
God, I felt that
I have to stand up
before.
with this
That's
kid.
not fun.
And I just had to use my speed to get in and get out and just be really careful. I ended up landing an elbow up against the cage, and I split him like 37
And that was like
stitches.
your stitch. What, how you say it? Stick after that? Like,
Yeah, I guess. That was the elbow.
like your thing.
Yeah.
I remember, and I didn't do a whole lot of
Stick.
elbows. I trained with elbows for like, I literally was doing striking for a month and a half prior to the show. I was doing Muay Thai for a month and a half in
And
Boston.
people were
at
like,
City
he's an excellent Muay Thai
Yeah,
fighter.
I was like, no, not. I train Muay Thai, but I'm not good. Not right now. But yeah, and so I was used to elbows, and then Ganyao Fairtex, who's this massive Thai dude.
I went to his seminar, man.
Did you really?
Ultimate
Yeah.
Fighter. Yeah, in DC, I went to a Ganyao Fairtex seminar. Yeah,
He was awesome, man, legend, and he would just tell me, hey, Kenny, you need elbow. You have good elbow. Throw elbow. And I was like, all right, well, I'll throw an elbow. And I threw the elbow, and sure enough, man, it split him. And yeah, I remember just going over like hugging Ganyao and be like, dude, you were right.
And then your
And
next
winning, I got
fight-
to the final for that fight.
Well, and you had fought Alex Karalexis too, but that was later on.
That was after,
yeah,
exactly.
And you had cut him really bad.
Yeah,
too,
I cut him really bad too, man. So I ended up fighting in the finale. I remember I was warming up backstage, and it just hit me all at once that I was fighting for a 6-figure contract.
Right.
All my friends and family were watching. I had family in the crowd. I had friends in the crowd. I had everybody in the show wanted me to beat Diego, basically. Yeah. And I was the underdog, and I trained really hard, in preparation for that fight. But Diego, at the end of the day, had like 15 fights to my 5 or something like that. Which huge difference. Trained by Greg Jackson, a bunch of fighters there for years. So knowledge-wise, for MMA, he was way ahead of me.
Yeah, and
Right.
he was a
On
good
paper,
grappler.
right.
And
too,
he
man.
was a
Diego-
really good grappler, dude. I
He's
remember
a
him
really
beating
good
Pablo
grappler, man.
Popovich. He was beating Pablo
dude.
Popovich
He's
in
been
grappling
he was
tournament.
in ADCC before
Yeah.
Ultimate Fighter,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah,
He
exactly.
did some ADC stuff.
He was
and
a
he used
problem.
to travel around and do like all weight classes, grappling tournaments before like there was a big scene in grappling.
Exactly.
tournaments.
I had heard that he
Exactly.
came down here to the dojo a couple times.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
There used to
people
be
were
a
like,
gym.
he'd be over in like the corner playing like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff.
Oh, that's
wow.
funny. Yeah, so he was a beast, and so we'd always have good training sessions, but training is training and fight's a fight. And I think I went in there, I was like, I'm gonna be fine, I'll be good. And I went out there and I was like a deer in the headlights, and I felt like I was circling for like minutes upon minutes. He ended up taking me down, and by the time I realized, I was like, I need to get in this fight, he was mounted on me, and he had split my nose. I had blood in my eyes. It felt like someone just put a red curtain over my eyes. And I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here, like right now. So I like really started scrambling to get out, and John McCarthy was stopping the fight. Yeah. That was one of those experiences to me that absolutely crushed me in a way that like I was like, wow, like nervousness is real. I'd never felt any type of nervousness for an MMA fight.
Wow.
Oddly enough, whatever reason. And I got smashed, and I was like, oh, okay, like clearly, technically, spiritually, mentally, I need to improve stuff. And mentally more than anything else. And I knew, obviously, technique-wise, I needed to be better. But I didn't go out and show people what I could actually do, and that pissed me off more than anything else, where I was like, man, I completely shit the bed. I froze when it counted. Like, what do I need to do to fix that? So I went and really started reading a lot. I started reading a lot about, history, war, special operation, soldiers and operations.
Their
and
mental stuff.
yeah, and just really try to get a hold of like, all right, I'm fighting with a referee for points, for submissions, like stuff where I can walk out of here alive. They're not. What is their mentality like? What can I learn from their experiences? And so that it was really only after I lost to Diego where I was like, all right, I want to be a pro. I want to be a pro MMA fighter now.
Wow.
Up until that point, I was
Wow.
like, it's a cool experience. I get to learn as a martial artist, but I'm going to be a teacher. I'm not a fighter. I just want to do that thing, learn from it, get a little bit of like people see me on this show. I open up a school. It helps me out. Take it easy, guys. Thanks for the memories.
Yeah.
Even if I won, I would have been like, I think I'm out. Like, I don't need this. And I did not want to go out like that. I didn't want that to be the lasting memory for myself, more importantly, but for others who believed in me and supported me. I was like, I can't go out like that. So that's really, for me, where I credit, like, this is when my career started.
That's
I needed
crazy.
To
In the UFC, my MMA career started.
Yeah. And I was just kind of like, kind of ignorant and immature about the process, I think, a little bit. Not that I always worked hard.
How old were you
I
then?
was 28 maybe at the time.
That was what, 2005?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. 2005 was the finale, April 2005.
Yep.
We filmed in 2004, and then the show finale was in 2005.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
So how
it
many
was a long
months in
break.
between the end of filming? Then
So I think we finished in November or December. Whenever the World Series was, because that's when the Boston Red Sox won. So whenever that was, I remember we were getting updates when they came back to win the whole thing. So, and then we had like a few months to prepare, and then the finale happened in April.
That's cool, man.
But yeah,
So I've been watching the first season on ESPN Plus, and there are some parts in there. I mean, really one of the crazy. I've seen just about all of them, and that was probably one of the craziest seasons. Just because, I mean, obviously all the drama, right?
Yeah.
Well, you got Forrest Griffin's on there.
Well, so many
Stephen
guys that went
Bonner,
on just to
Stephen
be
Bonner,
huge names, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe when it comes to that, like the biggest season, I mean, Josh Koscheck, like,
that catapulted the UFC.
right. Oh, well, that show did exactly what they had hoped it would do.
Yeah.
But so I was watching it, and before I came here today, I was on the season where you guys, or the episode where you guys got to go out for the night, and I was telling him, dude, one of the best lines I heard in the entire show to this point was you in the mirror. I'd do me.
Yeah, we were all excited. It was
And
our
your
first
low-cut
time.
jeans?
Yeah, I believe it was my. I believe it was my tighter jeans at the time that I got flack for. Then everybody used after. I was just a couple years ahead of everybody. You know what I mean? I was really No, and that was the first time we were going out, and we were all like, dude, we're gonna see like real life women. We hadn't been out in like a month.
That brings me to my next point.
Dude, we hadn't been out in like a month and a half. We were like, oh my gosh, there's going to be people out there. And it got to the point where, and it was really like, I knew I didn't want to succumb to like the people around me in a way, because people who didn't, looking back, and it was clear at the time, but like, so I said, people who lost got to leave the show. Now, when you left the house, you had sovereignty again. You got the ability to walk the strip, party. You had your other little place. You had to stay in Vegas, but basically you got paid your food every day.
Get out
you
of
had
here,
like
bro.
an allowance for days. So they were
Holy
like,
shit.
dude, I get paid to hang out in Vegas and I don't have to train or fight anymore. I'm out. See you guys. So we got wind of that, and we're like, oh man, these guys are living the life. We're locked up in here training, like, but I had to kind of remind myself, like, no, don't fall into that loser mentality.
Yeah.
Stay focused,
Yeah.
because everyone was like, man, I just want to get out of here. I don't even care if I win or lose,
Jeez,
yada, yada.
dude.
And I was like,
Yeah.
all right, man, like I'm competitive, you know what I mean? So I was like, I got to stay, see how far I can make it. And so it was interesting seeing that temptation of like not succumbing to that.
Yeah.
And like, that was my first taste of
Well, a lot
like,
of fighters-
professional fighting and professional athletics of like,
Right.
no, like, do you want to do this or not? And so I was in that interesting crossroads.
And a lot of MMA fighters don't really have that good kind of voice on the side. It's
Yes.
like, hey man, like
Totally.
you can ruin your career out here. You know what I'm
Well, look
saying?
at Jesse
100%.
Taylor. I mean, he do got another shot, right? But like he was on the cusp of winning the entire thing, and goes out one night in Vegas and just does all kind of dumb shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Absolutely.
like it's kind of wild, so it's good on you that you kind of made that smart decision early on, too,
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah, I was definitely lucky.
Do you remember the pact that you guys made when you were all at the table and Chris Lieben tells you guys that you guys are going to be going out the next night, and you guys made a pact? Do you remember that?
I do not.
Okay.
Whoa, explain this to me, dude.
So Chris Lieben was like, all right, he's like, I know we trained together and shit, but let's make a pact, and when we go out tomorrow night, nobody's just not going to drink. We're all going to get equally as fucked up. And then you're all like, yeah. And then you stood up, and everybody puts their hands in the middle and say like the most 2004 shit ever. And it's like 1, 2, 3, get.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I remember watching that, I was like, wow,
That's hilarious.
That just took me back to like you know, like I don't know, that was probably, you know, before Jersey Shore and all that, but that was like the whole get. You know, such like the most 2004 shit that you could say.
Amazing,
man. So, anyways, man, like fast forward a little bit, and you know, you're just killing it in UFC. I want to know, how did you meet Kurt, my coach?
Yeah, so
because I know you guys were same weight class.
Same weight class. Yep, same weight class. We'd always seen each other around like the grappling events. So I knew him from Grappler's Quest and you know, all the different events that were up and down the East Coast. And I'd always see him around. So we'd always say, hey, what's up? We weren't like friends at the time, but we were friendly. And then we'd see each other at weigh-ins. Like if we fought on the same card, or if I was at a card, I'd see him around. Hey, how are things going?
Because funny enough, he fought Drew Fickett his first UFC fight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So after one of his fights, I believe it was a fight he lost, and he hit me up, and he's like, I think he sent me an email, and he's like,
email.
Huh?
On old email.
On old email, electronic mail. It was like, I don't think it was a text, but anyways, he was like, hey, can I get your number? He's like, you know, I've seen improvements that you've made in your game. He's like, I'd love to come and train with you. You know, if that's cool. He's like, I know we're the same weight class, but you know, could you help me? And I was like, yeah, sure. You know, and he hit me up. I think he came out to train with me. I introduced him to like a lot of the guys on my team. He would just follow me to practice and just do what I was doing. And yeah, we just hit it off. Like Kurt is, as you know, is like one of the funniest dudes ever. So he's
never met Kurt, but he's always
just a riot to be around.
Yeah. Actually, I think I did a long time ago when I lived with Jordan Penny. I think you brought him over to watch the fights one time.
Okay,
I could be wrong.
Yeah,
but I think I remember seeing like it was Nate Diaz was fighting somebody, and they showed like the clip of him with the triangle and the and then I think that we all just kind of like, you know, whenever that came
he doesn't like that one. So you know, he hit me up, and you know, it was almost like we had been friends for a long time. Like, you know, the way I hung out with Kurt was just like straight off the bat we became pretty close and trained with each other. You know, semi-regularly throughout the year. You know, either he'd come to Boston or I'd go down to Jersey and train with him.
A lot of YouTube videos of them too.
We used to do a bunch of stuff. We were dummies. But
what's the name of your you had the mustaches on and you had the dog? What was it?
Oh my gosh, I forget.
Oh man, Alexa's talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Is she answering your question?
No.
Wow.
What is that?
She's going off.
Yeah. She is.
So
they would do like funny skits.
Yeah, we do skits. Man. We do just silly stuff. But yeah, we always had a great time training, man, and always learned a lot from each other. We were both the same weight class, of course, so we had great sparring, and so it worked out.
Right. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's very cool. That's how we actually I met Kenny the first time. He came to corner. I don't know if you remember this or not. I might have talked about it some. But, man, I was just a young up-and-comer kid. I think I hadn't fought in Bellator yet. So he had fought in Bellator. Or it's Kurt's Bellator fight, and you were at the hotel, you know, corner, and I come up early to Atlantic City, and I'm able to meet Kenny. You know, I was like, oh, my God, Kenny.
Right, yeah.
You know. And then, you know, next thing you know, we're partying in the club later on that night, and I'm taking my shirt off. I'm swinging around. Marcelo Garcia's there as well, and Kurt's like coming up to me. He's like, "Hey, dude, you need to tone it down. Put your shirt back on. Number one, man." Like, so
that's right. It was me and Marcelo in his corner.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You,
cool.
Marcelo, and I think Brian Wright.
That's right,
well.
and Brian.
Wright.
Yeah.
Yep. So
pretty cool.
And then fast forward, Kenny's got some family here down the road in Pawleys Island, and Rayhan, another friend of ours. How'd you meet Rayhan?
So Rayhan actually, when I had my gym out in L.A., he came and visited.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm not even sure I knew his name. I trained with him once, I think, when I was there in the gi, and he was coming in with Isaac Doderlin.
Yep.
And they had known each other from training over at Cabrini's or whatever, and so I knew of him. And then I saw him here. I was like, "Oh man, that's so cool! I didn't know you were here."
Yeah.
But so that's how that worked out.
Yeah. So and then me and Kenny hooked up, and now
I actually hit up Kurt and asked him about your gym. I was like, "Hey man, like, where's his gym? Where's And
he's Kurt was like, "I sent him your way." Yeah. He was like, "I sent Kenny your way. You're welcome."
Yeah.
He's always like, "Tell me thank you for doing a favor for me." Exactly. The first time he called me for Bellator. When I got a 3-fight deal for Bellator, he calls me up, and dude, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I'm in active duty military at the time, and so I'm like out in the field, and I'm on the bus, and I'm like, and he gives me a call. I'm like, "Yo, what's up, man?" He was like, "Tell me you love me." I'm like, "What's up?" He was like, "Just tell me you love me." I was like, "I love you." He's like, "No." He's like, "I want you to mean it." I was like, "I love you, dude." He's like, "I got you a 3-fight deal with Bellator. Like, you're fighting Marcin Hild." I'm like, I almost dropped the phone, right then and there. So yeah, and I'm like, "I love you." So yeah, he's always wanting some praise or something like that, man. Yeah,
Seems like a cool dude though.
Yeah, Kurt's funny, man.
Yeah. Talk about he's had, I don't know how many surgeries so far now, man. He just got done with a shoulder surgery or a knee surgery. He's had 8 knee surgeries or something like that.
Ton of knee surgeries, I know that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's trying to get back on the men's and everything like that. But So anyways, man.
In terms of your career, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mentioned earlier you fought, a lot of people, right? A lot of big names. Which of them and I don't necessarily want you to think about title fights, right?
Yep.
Just do any of them stick out to you in terms of which fight made you better, marginalized, right? Which one brought more out of you?
For sure, I think all the losses really more than anything else. Yeah. I think I always learned more from a loss than I did from a win, especially a quick win. I tried to learn. I definitely learned from all of them for sure. But I think those critical fights that I lost, like the BJ Penn fight was a huge, there was the Diego Sanchez fight, as I mentioned, leveled up from that. The Sean Shark fight for sure.
Was that your first title fight?
That was my first title fight, 155 pounds. And then the second one against BJ Penn was a huge eye-opener for me because, I actually had Faraz Sahabi who hit me up from TriStar Gym in Montreal, Canada. And he hit me up and just gave me a whole breakdown of what he thought I did wrong, which was super cool. I was never that dude, I didn't get offended
if somebody tries to critique you.
Yeah, I didn't. I was just no, if you're someone I respect, you're someone who's an actual trained martial artist, tell me what I need to do wrong, and I'm gonna try to improve it, And he hit me up and he just gave me this whole breakdown. I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Need to get my jab going, need to get this going, need to get that going. And I started training with Faraz. I left my old gym and started training with him. I still had my gym in Boston, so I was going back and forth. I'd go up there for a week, 2 weeks, come back to Boston and work all the stuff that I was working with Faraz and those guys over there. So, obviously train with guys like George St. Pierre and Rory McDonald and all those guys. It was pretty easy to level up. I had to be on my game. There was also a ton of guys I had no idea who they were who were trying to kick my ass. Being I'm sparring with Kenny Florian. Let's go. Yeah. So it was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah.
So after that BJ Penn fight, training with Frost was a huge way for me to level up. And and then of course, Jose Aldo. So there's always, there's levels to the game, right? And also
you level up, you get knocked back down. You level up,
that's it. Hopefully, you know what I mean? If you're resilient, if you work on stuff, you work hard. So I even, up into the point when I was fighting Jose Aldo, I think the most, people like to ask me, what's my favorite fight or what's the thing I'm most proud of? Honestly, above anything else is just improving. No matter what, win or lose, I was always a different dude the next fight, no matter what.
Right.
And yeah.
That's a big key thing too. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of fighters, they want to stay working on this thing that they
Yes.
want to work on.
Yes.
And what they like. And I learned this from Boss Rutan a long time ago. I guess he talked about how he hated jiu-jitsu back in the day. He was a big
Yeah.
kickboxer,
Yeah.
you know, Dutch kickboxer. So he knew that jiu-jitsu was his flaw, and so he just worked on wrestling or jiu-jitsu. And then people started buying DVDs and stuff like that with Boss Rutan teaching knee bars and submissions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because the guy is now like winning in pancrase and knee barring everybody. And yeah, it's really, really, really interesting. And that's where I learned, like, work on your weaknesses.
Yes.
Get better where you're weak at. Like, don't just, work on your strengths, right? Like, we always got to perfect those.
Yeah.
But, like, weaknesses. And so, for me, my weaknesses was wrestling. So, perfect recipe for me was moving to Kurt's. Right?
Yep.
Going to train with Kurt. Like, that, like, leveled me up so much.
Me too, man. I wish I had like a private wrestling coach since the beginning, you know. It was interesting. Like, every fight that I took someone down in, I won. If I hit one takedown in the fight, I always won.
Wow.
And not that I want to be like a singular thing, but I needed to be more efficient and needed to be better with my wrestling. And I wish I started that a lot earlier because I took to it really well. It just took me a little while to get like a private wrestling coach. It was hard to find, I guess, in Massachusetts or whatever. But anyways, yeah, man. And I think to your point about, you know, strengthening your weaknesses, I think like as a martial artist, if you think about, you know, that one person, you know, there's always that one person on the mat who does something that you may not be good at, and they always give you a tough time for that reason. But I think if you think about martial arts in terms of, you know, self-defense, if you think about in terms of, first, I'm not going to let you kill me. And if you can't kill me, that means I can stick around for a long time and get you.
Absolutely.
So I think that's critical. It's like, you
hurt
know,
that person before they hurt you.
yeah, exactly. You know, like what would Superman be if I can come up from behind him and stab him in the back, you know, or shoot him? You know, Superman, yeah, he's got laser eyes, he's super strong, he can fly around, but like you can't kill the dude unless you have kryptonite. So like, you know, we bring out our offense and we bring out, I think, our strengths in a lot of ways via defense. You know, it's like if I can't let you do certain things, it's like, you know, mentally, how many people break against Mikey Messi because they know they can't pass his guard, you know, and then all of a sudden he take advantage of them. So, you know, defense is huge, man, and working on your weaknesses is so big. It's humbling, sucks, takes a while, but this is the way.
Yeah,
you know?
it is the way, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what is it saying? Good defense, or is that good offense? I don't
Best
know.
offense is good defense.
Yeah,
Maybe,
no, it's
maybe
true.
it was
Good
backwards there.
defense.
Yeah, I mean, Hodger Gracie also really inspired me. He used to talk about that way back in the day too. You know, when I trained with him at Gracie Baja, and you know, he said he would train with all these grown men when he was just a teenager, and he was basically fighting for his life, and he learned how to not let guys submit him,
Right.
and it allowed him to open up his game, be like, well, if I know that they can't submit me now, and I can get out of a lot of different positions, then it frees me up to not worry about making a mistake.
Right. And that's Gordon Ryan's thing too.
Yeah.
Right. He's really big on defense. He's like constantly training mount escapes, back escapes, preventing the mount, preventing the guard pass, preventing the back tag, you know? And so like whenever you break all those things down and you're just constantly working on those things that are like, if you can't pass my guard, there's nothing you can do with me in jiu-jitsu, right? Like
100%.
You know, if I can pass your guard, like you can sit down and you try to do leg locks, but if you can't heel hook me or you can't foot lock me, what are you going to do?
Right.
You know? So it's like, it's definitely working on those type. And, you know, like we all don't like doing that, right?
Yeah.
Because like, I got somebody in full mount, I can't do some flashy stuff, or I can't work on, you know, a submission or something like that. And a lot of students, like, they don't want to work on all that stuff. They want to learn the arm bar, the triangle, the submission, the 1,000 submissions, the 1,001 submissions is what they want, not necessarily working on the bad parts.
Or the ones
100%.
that they see on TV.
Yeah, yeah.
100%. Yeah, everyone wants to work on the sexy stuff, you know, like hitting pads is awesome, hitting a bag is great, but working footwork is a pain in the ass, but it's so important, you know, and
Eye-hand coordination drills.
yeah,
all the
yeah,
little
things like that like isn't
it's going to
sexy.
improve you to 1%.
Absolutely.
Just that 1% might be that tick that takes you over the top.
Yep. And then when it all clicks together, everything else gets easy.
Yeah.
But, not the other way around, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I remember when I lost to BJ Penn, and he took my back and he choked me with my signature move, which was my signature move, right? Rear naked choke. And my brother asked me after the fight, when we sat down at the gym, we were going over everything. He's like, so when's the last time someone's taken your back? I was like, I can't remember. He's like, yeah, that's what I thought. He's like, when's the last time someone submitted you, I was like, I can't really remember. He's like, yep, we're going to fix that. He's like, we're going to start in bad positions. We're going to get like the best jiu-jitsu guys we could find, and we're going to push you in different ways. So
because you're getting in good positions,
right?
But you were never getting in bad positions to work the bad positions.
Yeah, because
yeah.
And this other thing, it's like
because in the training room too, you want to be winning.
Totally, and that's the other good thing about having good guys around you, because and good guys in quotes in a way, because you want to be able to train safely, but you don't want to. If you're getting ready for a fight, imagine if Derek, all the training partners around you were letting you kick their asses all the time. You think you're like, oh man, I'm killing it, I'm doing awesome, doing great. But they're actually like, sometimes I'd train with guys, they're like, oh, I'm training with Kenny Florian.
Yeah,
like, I'm not going to go, I don't want to go against him, or he probably knows everything that I'm going to do, so I'm not going to try anyway. That doesn't help me.
Yeah.
And especially, if you have your own gym or whatever. So we had my own gym at the time. And so basically I had to, bring guys out that weren't going to respect me, or I had to go out of my comfort zone and do that, because, you want to be able to see as much as possible and be in those situations that you make the mistakes.
Hard, dude.
Make the mistakes
That's
in
hard.
training. Don't make the mistakes in the fight. So
that's so hard going outside of your home territory, man.
It is.
And training with I flew up to New Jersey to train with Jim Miller, Dan Miller back in the day when I think Jim was getting ready for Ben Henderson, and I flew up there, or I drove up there. Sorry, lived in a hotel for a week. But I brought it to Jim, dude. Like I was
awesome.
I wanted to prove myself
Of
to
course.
him. You know what I'm
Of
saying?
course.
I wasn't nobody then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like trying to spar him. I think Charlie Brenneman was there at the time,
Yep.
and Dan Miller. So it was like it's tough though.
Yeah.
Like you're on the
is.
spot every time, and you're this new guy, and everybody's like, hey, get the new guy.
fresh meat.
Get the new guy. Get the guy that
Yeah,
thinks he
man.
wants, be somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's wild.
It's true, man.
Yeah.
So your fight with Jose, last fight in the
Yep.
UFC, how old were you?
I was 36.
Oh, really?
36, yeah.
36?
That was my last fight. I retired 36, 37, something like that.
So to be 36, is still, obviously he was the champ. You're still competing with the best.
Yeah.
Like ultimately, why did you decide to retire?
So I hurt my back. My back had been hurt since like 2007. It would go in and out, and I have had these episodes. And in fact, one of them was before I was supposed to fight on UFC 58. It was the USA versus Canada card. And I was supposed to fight Sam Stout on that card. I was packing my bags. I went to my bottom drawer to pull out my T-shirt drawer, and it felt like someone stuck a kitchen knife in my back, and I just fell to the floor, and I was stuck on the floor for like an hour and a half.
Oh shit!
I've been there, dude.
Not even be
I've
able to
been there,
walk.
man.
Like I was like, I'm done. This is
Yeah,
it.
man. It's
And
not
so
cool.
I'd have those episodes since then. I had an episode 2 days after I trained here, a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I went to grab my dog, and back froze up. So, anyways,
done that
I'll be
from
back to
picking up
training
a
next
dog.
week. Hopefully later this week. But anyways, yeah. So I've had this issue. So my big thing was that I knew heading into that and heading into my MMA career, I was like, I'm starting late. Time is my biggest opponent. I need to be able to maximize my time. So I trained a lot. I trained whether I had a fight or not. I was training 6
Same.
days a week, no matter what. So that was my edge, was just training and doing whatever I could in the training room to advance past other people. And when I knew that my body was limited and that I wouldn't be able to train the way that I wanted to after a certain point, I was like, this game's way too dangerous. Guys are getting way too good for me to go in there too compromised. I was going to go in there with a bad back and get fucked up again. Like I did that against Sean Shirk. I had certain fights where I wasn't great, even in one against Gomi. And, some I won, some I lost. But at a certain point when I was up there in age, I was like, this is too much. And I don't think I trained for like 2 years after that injury.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So it took me a while to get back. I had doctors telling me I would never be able to do jiu-jitsu again. I'd never be able to train again.
They ever say what the issue is?
Yeah, so I had 2 bulging discs, 1 herniated disc. I had 3 annular tears in the disc.
Damn.
So yeah, and they told me they're like, you know, it may grow back, you may be good, it may seal, and you're good to go. Never did. And yeah, so
Still living with that right now?
Still living with that right now. So I'm trying to figure out, you know, whether stem cells the approach. I've been doing rehab forever. No matter what it does, like now that I'm older, I'm getting episodes more frequently.
Yeah.
And I'm getting them for longer periods of time. Like back
Are you
in
stretching
Christmas,
it all or anything? You are?
Yeah.
Yeah. That sucks,
back in
man.
Christmas, I was probably like tied to my bed for like 10 days straight. I could not get up, dude. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
People don't understand, man, the life of a fighter, especially when you're training constantly and not taking time off, man. Megan used to have to help me put my socks and shoes on, bro.
Yeah, that's how you know it's bad.
it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. You can't do it. You can't do it. Yeah,
And you got to go train.
yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know, so I would foam roll and I would heat up my back. I'd rub stuff all over me. I'd
Yep.
foam roll my legs so it would, and my butt so it would loosen up my back and I'd lose, man, and then go train. And then next morning it's the same thing, dude. Air overtime, foam roll, you know, and just bracing whenever you got a cough and
Yeah,
shit.
man.
Yeah, I think stem
Horrible.
cells is the way to
Bracing when
go,
you got a
man.
cough.
I hope so, man. That's the plan. So hopefully in maybe the end of this year,
I got stem cells done here.
you?
This
Okay.
place called Advanced Medical Solutions, what I was telling you about.
Oh yeah.
And my back's been great
Wow.
for the past 2 years.
Okay.
Now the thing with in America, the stem cells that they can give you
Not
only
as good, right?
Not
Yeah,
as good.
Yeah.
Don't
that's-
people like-
I was looking at
like,
outside of the country.
Yeah. So I heard there's like a place called Bio Accelerator or something like that.
Yes.
It's doing a lot of UFC guys and different people
Yep.
in Colombia.
Yep.
And I was looking into that as well, man, because I just tore my rotator cuff in my shoulder. So it's like, man, my shoulder's been bad for years, and my back's, my hips.
Yes.
So man, I'm gonna go in there and get lubed up from the feet up.
Yeah,
or
well,
something,
I hear
but-
for shoulders it's amazing. There's a place that I'm looking at, Chispa in Tijuana, Mexico.
Okay.
Right now it's a little dangerous to go down to Tijuana right now, but
a little bit.
But yeah, a little
might
bit,
not
little
come
bit.
back.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go, I'll feel fine, but then I won't come back. So I'm thinking about that, just finding out the right time to kind of go
Yeah.
down there. So shout out to those guys over there. But so yeah, I'm looking for some kind of solution, man. It's been really frustrating, and I love training, and if I'm not training in something, I go a little crazy. I'm not
Get
the
a little
nicest guy to be
anxious.
around.
I'm the
Yeah,
same way, man.
so
Yeah.
I need it in my life, man. Like it's been a part of my life for so long. It's my identity, you know. So I miss it. I know there's gonna be a time where I get too old, maybe that I can't. I'm just
Maybe.
hoping it's not at 47 years old. You know, I want to be able to train.
Well, you're a very
longer
busy
than
dude. You got
now.
a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I travel a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you commentate for PFL. Same with BattleBots, but you also have your own thing that you. What was it? Pew-Jitsu?
Oh yeah,
Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah.
Very
Well,
clever, by the way.
Thank you. So it's a group called Argus Integrated Defense. We have, we do these Pew-Jitsu courses, and we basically integrate like a full self-defense curriculum where it's like, pistol training, how to retain your pistol. What do you do if someone takes your pistol? Like knife stuff, walking through.
Verbal judo at all?
Like verbal communication, how to deal with stuff like that. How to like de-escalate. We do a lot of shoot house training. We do, stuff in the car. So basically, like, that was kind of one of the things that
Preparing for your
helped
worst
fulfill me.
moment possible.
And I love that stuff. Like I like problem solving. I like doing stuff like that because these are scenarios that we're hearing more and more of in this crazy world. So like I don't know. I got into shooting a little bit ago, and like so many things, I get obsessed with it, and I train it every single day. And
Dude, we got a guy here, man, Rob. He's really good, man. I have
Really?
to show
Yeah.
you some videos
Oh, dude,
of him,
let's do
man.
it.
He's like boom, 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 boom.
That's
He's a
awesome.
big guy. He was wanting
I
to
love
roll with you that night. You can
Oh,
see
really?
he's big as
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
big.
Rob's
dude,
a
but
big guy.
He jumps out of
Airplanes?
He jumps out of airplane. Yeah, like high up. He's done base jumping.
That's awesome.
Like all kinds of. He's an
adrenaline junkie.
He's
Yeah.
an adrenaline junkie.
That's
for
awesome.
sure.
Was he like a Marine or?
He was a Marine. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's a Marine.
There's a lot of veterans here, man.
Yeah, we
that
got a
train
lot.
here.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of veterans.
Yeah, we're
That's
trying to
awesome.
get more cops in here, you know. So we did the Adopt a Cop program a little bit, you know, but guys just they don't take advantage of that, man.
Yeah, that's
they really
the thing.
don't.
That's the thing, you know, that I find is, you know, it's kind of a head scratcher, and I'm not here to, you know, crap on anybody. You know, being a police officer is extremely difficult. It's really tough, all the situation that you're in. But at the same time, you know, it's like, imagine me being like, hey, you know, Derek, I want to be a pro fighter, man, but, you know, I just want to train like once a week. Is that cool? You know what I mean? Like, there's people that are out there that are literally trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be in
They're
it.
And you go to
interacting
one
with
seminar
people
a year.
every day.
Every
Like,
day.
yeah.
Every day,
Every
man.
day. I would be like obsessed about it. Like if I
Yeah.
was out there in the field or whatever. So for me, you know, I just find everything from like shooting to self-defense and knowing how to control somebody.
Control's the big one.
Control's the big one.
Big
you know,
one,
like
man.
I see so I saw a horrible video. I think it was overseas. Not I think. It was. I believe it was in Brazil. And I saw it this morning, you know, the Argus Integrated folks, Antonio Rivers, Jared Paulo, Nicole Thurman. We have this little group chat, and we send videos to each other all the time. They sent me two cops against one dude. This dude was not like Joao Wick, okay? He was not John Wick. He was just a regular dude who looked like he was actually kind of out of shape.
Yeah.
This one dude took the police officer's gun as they were in a tussle.
Shot them both.
Shot them both.
Wow.
Shot them both. One dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And these guys
Seen that at a
had
traffic
no
stop
idea
before
how to
too,
control.
man.
Dude, wow.
Saw it at a traffic stop, man. I mean, on
Right.
video, of course, but
Sure.
yeah, man. It was like a white kid, teenager. And he's like, I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
And the cop's trying to get him out
Right.
of the car, I think maybe he did have a pistol, but he's like, I didn't do it. And kid just looked like a blonde-headed,
Yep.
basic kid, man.
Yep.
Next thing you know, pulls the gun out and just shoots that guy. The other guy's around, chase him down, shoots him, gets in his car, takes off.
Wow.
Looks like just a kid that goes to college.
Yeah,
Unreal,
so
man.
you know, it's crazy. Like if you are doing that for your job, why wouldn't you seek out the best damn training possible?
Right.
You want to get back safely to your family.
Yeah.
You want to be able to do your job well. Man, get training. Understand how the body works. Understand how to control a human body. And you know, it was a situation where like, you know, they weren't even thinking about it. Their gun was exposed. They had no idea how to control the whole rest of the body in order to isolate the lever of the arm. And it was just like they were scrambling. And sure enough, unfortunately, they were shot
Isolating
and killed.
limbs,
It was
man,
horrible.
is like if you isolate your arms away from your body, there's nothing you can do, man.
Yeah.
You know,
And
So
we
it's
forget.
like-
We almost forget because we've been doing it so long how easy it can be to
Yeah.
do it. And you know, you watch someone else, you're like, man,
why aren't you? Oh my god!
right? Yeah, yeah. It's wild.
It's like it's crazy, man. It really is. But it's like good on you, man, for like starting that. I've always had
Yeah, that's
something in
dope.
my head for something like that. You know, I taught combatives in the military. I taught Phoenix Ravens in the military as well, which is like a security forces, like military type that protect aircraft.
Yeah,
But it's like even those guys, right? They come to training and they know absolutely nothing.
right.
I mean,
Right.
and it's like, dude, you're supposed to be like this elite group of people that's supposed to know some stuff, and it's like just mind blowing.
Yeah, man.
It really is, dude. It's sad, but you know, in the not military, in the cops, they don't really get paid a whole lot either. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So we do a 20% discount here to all LEOs,
Right.
or first responders, because a lot of times EMTs fall into this same trap. They come to try to save a druggie or something like that, and they get attacked by somebody else that,
Right.
you know. So yeah, man, it's like knowing how to control somebody and control the situation too is super important as far as, especially nowadays, man.
No question, man.
So, did you ever play the UFC Undisputed video game?
I did at one point. So I remember they sent me the game when it first came out. Is that the one that's out now? There's probably now there's like 4 or 5 iterations past that. But I remember I was on the original one and would play with that every once in a while. For whatever reason, I'm just like not. First of all, I think I'm not good at video games. I didn't really practice a whole lot.
Either, yeah.
Once it got past 4 buttons, I'm like, my old ass, I was like, I can't deal with it. I don't know. I remember when I hurt my knee, I tore my MCL. So I was basically forced to like sit in a couch for like at least a month. So I'd play video games. I'd play Call of Duty, and I played the UFC game a little bit. But yeah.
Did you ever like find yourself like playing with your character and being like, you know, looking at the stats and thinking that they were up to par with?
Yeah, I think I was actually highly rated at the time. I was like, damn, I was in like the 90s
Dude,
or something like that.
I used to take people's souls with you.
Really?
and let me tell you, your rubber guard,
that's hilarious.
Fucking amazing, dude. I would
I don't even know how
hold
to
people
do it.
in
That's
rubber
cool.
guard.
That's awesome. Yeah, no. That's hilarious, man.
So
yeah,
it was funny. I was talking to my cousin
too funny.
before I came to shoot today. I was like, dude, we got Kenny Florian on it. He's like, really? It's like, man, I remember we used to kick people's ass with him on the video game. And I was like, yeah.
That's
They
so
used
funny,
you.
man.
They used you.
We
They
would
used
seriously
me.
just hold people in rubber guard and just like smack them. Just smack them. And they couldn't do anything. Just sit there and smack them, dude.
And then
Open up a little cut, stand back up with them, take
That's
them down again.
Oh man,
That was the goal.
Damn,
That's so
hilarious.
funny, man.
But yeah, I want to say that game came out probably like, I don't know if you had, no, you couldn't have been retired yet. Maybe it was like right before you retired.
It was, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. It was like probably right before, yeah, like maybe
Somewhere like back in, like-
2009, 10, something
Yeah,
like that,
exactly.
maybe. Yeah.
Wow. So before we get out of here, man, tell us what all you got going on.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, I like I said, I'm doing some work with Argus Integrated Defense. We have real exciting competition that we developed that actually I wanted to talk to you about, see if you or any of the guys wanted to do it at some point. But basically, we're developing a kind of like a self-defense competition that integrates pistol, knife, and hand-to-hand stuff.
Oh, wow.
And we're trying to develop like a safe way for guys to come and compete and test themselves. There's nothing like it. So in a safe way to test yourself using all these different elements in different scenarios. Like, how do you respond against this? How do you respond against that? And you're basically going one-on-one against you and some bad guy.
Oh,
And then
wow.
you guys get to switch roles.
Oh.
And, you know,
Wow.
so, yeah, so we're...
Very cool.
I don't want to go too much into details, but that's a competition that we're hoping to do at
That's
the
sick.
end of the summer.
And where's
So,
that at?
in Charlotte.
In Charlotte.
Yeah, so we're going to put that on, and hopefully we have a bunch of resumes that are coming in, and we're just going to pick like top like 20 and have those guys compete and see what happens, and maybe
That's
turn this
dope.
into something. So
Yeah.
so
First of its kind.
Yeah, exactly. First of its kind. So we're excited about that, and you know we're doing seminars and stuff like that. I do my weekly podcast with John Anik, Anik and Florian podcast. I have a YouTube channel where I have some techniques and stuff like that for jiu-jitsu and MMA. I have to get back to it and do some more. But yeah, so doing commentary for the PFL, which is on ESPN, which is cool. And then doing BattleBots on Discovery Channel as of right now. We'll see where we end up next year. But yeah, so keeping busy, and then being a husband, being a dad, it keeps me busy as well, and been a lot of fun. And that's pretty much it, man. Yeah.
BattleBots
Right on.
is interesting, huh?
It's been fun, man. There's so
That's been
much.
around for a long time.
It's been
It
around for a
has,
while.
dude.
We're in our 8th year, I think,
Yeah.
which is, man, I feel blessed that we've been around TV for that long. But yeah, it's been great because there's also so much like similarities between engineering of fighting and actual fighting. You're like, they're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to get underneath like you would a sweep or a takedown. They're trying to smash into each other, just like striking. Durability is key. So what like metals they're using. So it's me. It's like my inner nerd and my inner kid kind of like get excited because we're just
That's
seeing
cool, man.
accidents
Yeah,
left and right. And so it's been fascinating seeing that and being a part of that. Like I just happened to get a call from those guys, and they asked me if I'd be interested in commentating and doing that, and I was like, okay, sure,
Yeah.
cool, yeah. So,
I want to see battle drones, man. They should start
dude,
that.
they're actually going to be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you
that's
have
next,
to, man. You
That's
have
next
to.
for sure.
Wow.
That would be sick.
It's nuts.
That's
The
crazy.
drones and BattleBots already shoot out like flames. It's not like enough to like kill a robot yet,
Right.
But if you're a human, you get burned by that flame, you would not be nice.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Right on, dude.
Yeah, man.
Well, DK, you wanna take us out, brother?
Yeah, Kenny, thank you again, man.
thank you so much, man.
Appreciate it. And if you guys give a chance, please like, subscribe, comment to our YouTube channel. This is our first like major host here, or major guest that we had here. So I appreciate you guys, following along and listening to us. And we're on, we're just going to keep cranking these out weekly. So subscribe. We appreciate it. Kenny, thank you again.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
thanks so much, Kenny. Appreciate
Appreciate
it. Till next time.